Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope that you guys are having a beautiful day and you had a beautiful morning already. Today, I am in the Own It IG live series. I'm gonna be bringing Angie, who we're gonna be talking about the healing of hiking. Angie is a life coach as well, and she's gonna tell you a lot more and introduce herself. But the topic of today is, and the passion that we share in common is the hiking, the ability of hiking, the healing of hiking, why we love hiking, and all of the things hiking. So if you're into hiking, this is a great conversation to be in. And if not, then maybe you should stay and learn a thing or two about why we see it as a lot more than hiking. So I invite Angie over, and when we were getting ready for this conversation, we just wanted to make sure that everything was gonna go well. She asked me about having lives on a computer, which is an answer that I don't know. So if anybody knows, we'll take the answer. But Angie, welcome to the On It live series. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for sharing your light. So why don't you introduce yourself to everybody so they know who you are before we start our conversation?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Telma. I really appreciate this time with you. I'm so excited for everything you're doing. My name is Angelica Vasquez. You can also call me Angie. And I am an abundance life coach along with a massage therapist. And I'm located here in Phoenix, Arizona as well.
Yes, I am so excited about this conversation because you do use the words abundance, and I'm going to link her bio when we do the whole notes so you can follow her and support her journey as well. But ever since I started following you, I realized that you and I have the love and we share this fascination for hiking, right? So why don't you tell everybody, how did you discover hiking? What drove you to a hike one day?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first time I went hiking, my friend invited me, and it was, I don't even know, it's been a really long time, maybe like 7, 8 years ago. And it's funny because the first time I went hiking, I went in jeans. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me not to wear jeans? Like, I know some people wear jeans to hikes, but it was very uncomfortable. So don't wear jeans if you go hiking. I recommend not to. But then over the years, I was always drawn to hiking, and it's so funny because sometimes I would go like in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the day, and just go hiking by myself. It just always felt like such a recharging thing for me. It feels like very spiritual and just like recharging for my soul. And starting last March is when I definitely decided. I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing until I'm like 70 something or whatever. I saw a couple people I actually interviewed this guy. He was 76 and he was still hiking. He's been hiking for so long. He used to hike Camelback, which is a really tough mountain. And I made that decision. Hiking is going to be part of my lifestyle until I die. So, yeah.
I like it. And we share that decision in common. So for all of you guys that are not in Phoenix gets pretty hot. And so sometimes hiking is not necessarily like welcoming because it's hot. So you have to go for like pretty early in the morning or for a sunset or in the dark or figure things out, or go to Flagstaff. There's beautiful hikes close to us, not so close, but why don't you tell us what's your favorite part of hiking? So you said that you find it recharging and that you can just what's your favorite part of the whole experience?
I think my favorite part is feeling like I want to say like a spiritual connection. It's not like I go out there and I talk to God, but it's like, it just feels really filling to my soul. Like it just feels like I'm in nature, especially because I go at 5 in the morning. It's like the whole world is quiet and I'm on top of the world and it feels so good.
Yeah. So why is it that you go at 5 in the morning? Is there like a specific reasoning, or is it just the temperature check, or what's the logic behind your morning hikes?
Um, well, one of them is definitely a temperature thing. We can't, I mean, I used to be able to go like in the middle of the day and it was not a big deal, but over the years it's been harder for me to go later. But I started listening to the 5 a.m. club as well, and it just really just like stamped it in me that 5 a.m. was like the best time to go. Again, like the whole world is quiet, and so you get like this advantage over getting your day started at that time. Not only that, like I've gone hiking in the dark now, and it's like an adventure.
It definitely is adds a little bit more of the sense of adventure when you go in the dark, and when you sometimes I have like a headlamp, sometimes I forget it, so my cell phone is all I have, and I'm like, all right, well, here we go. One step at a time. I am a huge fan of sunrise hiking myself. I think that yes, I agree with the concept that the five morning, uh, what's the book that you mentioned? The
5 a.m. club.
Yeah, the 5 a.m. club. Oh, there's a morning miracle. There's a lot of books that tell
Mm-hmm.
you about the beauty and the science behind the moving your body at certain times of the day. And in the morning, when you first wake up, you really quickly, you're not fully awake yet. So your brain is actually a lot more open to whatever it is that you want to reframe, reword. It's a really good time for affirmations in which your brain is a lot more spongy to take them, which is also is a huge plus of waking up early because it makes it so worth it. Plus the quiet, the quiet part of the fact that for me that I'm a mom, my mornings are the only quiet time that I really get. So it makes it even more in like this is my time and I get to only hear myself and live with myself. So that's another huge plus that I love about my mornings and either hiking or going for a run or just being in some sort of nature. I also think
Mm-hmm.
that being outdoors is yeah, healing on its own, just because you are not necessarily being like you're not in a square, you're not
Yes.
you have the ability to just look out and see all kinds of other things. So it keeps you exploring and you're not trying to find a solution for everything. So by being in that position, your perspective opens up and you can zoom out, and hiking takes you to in a position on top of the world, like you said, in where you feel that everything is a lot bigger than you.
Yes, I agree. And like you said, like at the beginning of the morning, it's such a good time because you kind of trick yourself. It's like I feel like when I try to do workouts in the later in the day, it's like my by then my mind will find reasons not to go. But in the morning, my brain is still kind of shut down, so it doesn't realize what I'm doing until I'm already at the mountain.
Yes, yes, and then that you won, you refrain your brain, you had the ability to like show up for yourself. And honestly, for me, after the morning, I'm like, I'm either gonna spend the whole day sweaty if I'm gonna work out in the afternoon, like the whole day I never got ready once, or I get it done in the morning and then I can put myself together. And so it just works a lot better. But for everybody that goes hiking, sometimes in Arizona now we're welcoming the weather in which you can start going to at sunsets, and it is gorgeous. Like just the view itself is such
Mhm.
a gift. So one of my most favorite hikers just joined the life. What would you say that makes hiking healing for you? Because I know you talk quite a bit about the fact that hiking is healing for you, but why is it? Like,
Mhm. Um, well, I've always had like a connection to the nature part, and I felt like that was recharging. This year, at the beginning of the year, I had really hard news in my personal life, and I kind of clung to hiking even more. You know, when most people when they get sad and they get bad news, like it's like you want to stay in bed, and I was like, screw that. I am not gonna stay in bed. So like waking up to a hike was just so much it just helped my mental health so much. I felt like it was like a depression pill. And if anyone takes pills, it's not a replacement. But for me in those moments, I just felt like going hiking was my depression pill. And I like as I've done more research, I have heard that being in nature and moving your body is, very helpful for anxiety and depression. And after those bad news, it just felt like a sanctuary to me.
Well, I first of all I want to applaud you and the fact and for showing up for yourself in the best way that you could, and I can totally relate. I feel like I do find hiking on the mountain and the quiet and natural ambience to be a sanctuary for me too. I do agree. There's a lot of science behind the power of being in outdoors, moving your body,
Mm.
and especially like on Mother Earth, like you literally are connecting, which is fabulous. But I also think that there's a lot of people that, like you said, once they get hard news or they are feeling that anxiety, there's two ways to go about it. You either kind of shut down and just kind of welcome it, or say, not like I feel you, but I'm still gonna do me and love me and show up for myself and honor the feelings, because there's a lot of times during a hike where you have the ability to completely be with yourself and review those thoughts and review those feelings and allow them. Like, I would be lying if I said I have never cried in a hike. If you know anything about me, I love to cry. Like, it just like it happens for happy things, not like funny things, sad things. I don't hide the emotions, and I definitely don't hide the tears. But tears, they don't care. They just show up anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, hiking gives you that space to just completely be without having to worry about anything or anybody else.
Yes, I definitely agree. I have cried on my hikes, and it's like you leave it at the mountain, and then you come home and you're like, what was I crying about? No, sometimes you remember, but it's just like that feeling of like, I feel released and I feel relieved.
Right, right. Yeah, I think hiking gives you a beautiful opportunity to release whatever it is that is not serving you, because you're giving yourself the space to acknowledge that is there and that it might not be serving you anymore. So for me, I have fallen in love with hiking. Yeah, for many, many, many years. Before I started being active in any type of gym, I would be like, oh, I don't work out, but I hike. Like,
Hmm.
and,
That is a workout.
I never thought of it as a workout. I still don't. I think that it's a, for, I would define it more of as a meditation for me than a
Yeah.
workout, personally.
Hmm. No, yes. And and it's funny because I do think of it that way too. Like people have asked me, "Have you lost weight?" Since I've been going hiking, and I was like, I have not. I decided not to go on a scale because I didn't want to do it for that reason. I wanted to do it for my soul. I wanted to do it for my mental health, and since I've gone for those reasons. I feel like that's what's made me so successful on keeping up with that habit as well.
Yeah, yeah. Having a super strong why as of why you're getting up in the morning and when you're showing up to things is definitely like a great anchor to really, bunk down a habit or whatever it is that you're saying. Some Hannah said is the best stairmaster in the world. And
Yes.
I
Agreed.
couldn't agree any. And I mean, and how beautiful it is that you don't even think of it as a workout. You're just showing up
Mhm.
there for yourself and your soul, but then your whole body is getting a benefit. That, I mean, yes, because let me tell you something. That stairmaster at the gym or the treadmill, I can't do it. It's so boring to me. I have tried to watch shows. I have tried to watch like shows that I really enjoy, and I'm still like,
Mhm.
oh, it's been only been five minutes. And when I'm in a hike, I'm like, oh my god. Sometimes, actually, right now, this time, I have
Mhm.
seen like a lot of hummingbirds are kind of playing around.
Yes. Mhm.
And I was like,
Sorry.
I don't know if it's the weather or like, but I'm like, oh my God, how amazing. So there's always something to look at. You kind of have to be watching your step a little bit, or you're gonna eat it when it's dark. You have to be, so your mind has a lot more to concentrate on, like, oh been 3 minutes.
Yes. Yes, it keeps you back, it gets you back in the moment. I think a lot of times we are very on autopilot mode. I mean, how many times do you drive somewhere and because it's the same route, you forget, like, oh my God, like all of a sudden you're at the place and you kind of forgot your drive because you're in autopilot mode. So like you said, going on your hikes, like anytime I see a bunny, a hummingbird, butterflies, like cute flowers, it's like it brings me back to the moment. And I think that's like very special. I was listening to, or I saw this video by Gala Darling. I'm not sure if you follow her, but she was talking about something about miracle miles, about like when you go on your
Oh,
walks, looking for signs. And I feel like that's something that I've been doing, like look for signs. And every time I see a hummingbird, I'm like, I'm in the right path. And like, how beautiful is that to be in nature and feeling like you're connected to the universe, to something bigger than yourself, and just like, okay, like I got that little, I don't know, like stamp of yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
yeah, I think it's a beautiful opportunity for you to be present, and it comes out naturally, so you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
intend, you don't have to be super intentional. I feel like in a building, at your house, in your driving, you're so in autopilot that it's hard to be intentional because it's already a habit, it's already there, it's something that you do, you already know the route, so you don't have to think
Mm-hmm.
twice about it. But when in nature and a hike, you do have to be aware of what's going on. And I have seen, yes, hummingbirds. I have also once I thought that there was like, I know the hike, so I know it wasn't a waterfall, but it sounded like a waterfall was
Uh,
near. And I was like, what
uh-huh.
is that? What is that? And it was like a cloud of bees. But if I had not paid attention to it, I would probably not be here today because I'm highly allergic to bees. And my husband said that he has never seen me run so fast in my life. And here's the thing, I had never run so fast in my life. Off the trail, up I go, because I was like, oh no, this is. But had I had music or had I not been fully like present, I wouldn't have caught it on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or the coyotes. The coyotes are always
Yes.
there too, and they're amazing. They're like so peaceful and chill. They don't really care about you if you don't care about them. But it's good to notice them, you know.
Yes.
It's good to be aware.
I have seen coyotes, I've seen snakes, and I've
Yeah.
seen scorpions. And yesterday we saw like a baby bobcat. And I was like, where's the mom?
Yeah. Yeah, that would have creeped me out a little bit. Mostly because of the mom. The other funny thing that I have seen, and the other time that I ran for my life, is when it was one of those pigs, the wild pigs,
Oh, shoot, javelinas.
javelinas.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't.
so.
Is that's how it's called in Spanish? I don't know if it's in English, but I know that I saw one, and my puppy thought it was a friend. So my puppy went. He was back then. He was off the leash, and he went to say hi, and then he realized that it was not a friendly thing, and started chasing us. And my puppy did not care that I was left behind, that I almost died, that I almost got caught because of his indiscretion of bugging this thing. And it was hilarious to realize that animals are sometimes so innocent. And my puppy was extremely friendly, so he doesn't know what's bad. But those are the two times that I have had to run for my life in a hike. And I still loved it. Like, I still went home and was like, oh my gosh, look at what happened to me, but I'm here. And I am that much grateful to be here.
It's an adventure. You never know.
You just never know.
But at the same time, it's like, where would you see one? Like, I feel like it's also kind of cool to be around these
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah, it's unexpected. And that's the thing, that
Mm-hmm.
on a hike, you can find yourself thinking about your dreams, sometimes your fears, sometimes your priorities, like unexpected things that are requiring your attention. And sometimes the busyness of your day is not allowing them to come to a space in which you can acknowledge them and give yourself the space to actually think about them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me,
Agreed.
yeah, I think hiking gives me that space to slow down and acknowledge a lot of what's going on inside my mind. Because otherwise, it's like, that computer with the 27 tabs.
Yes.
I'm like, like it's a little bit more. convoluted, disorganized.
Yes. I feel like that's almost every woman's brain. It's like we have all these things that we're supposed to be doing or want to do, and well, I mean that's what, like, I think you've talked about it too, like the brain dump.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, yeah, of course
So
I talk about it. This is a struggle, but this is an everyday struggle here.
yes, so those are good as well. For anybody who doesn't know what a brain dump is, basically everything you have in your mind, go ahead and write it down on a paper. And then it's like you don't have to hold it all in there because your brain is trying to like remember all the time, like what is it that I'm supposed to do? When is that appointment? All of that. So brain dump, hiking, good combination. Sometimes I do write notes on my phone as I'm hiking because it's like things come to me, like you said.
Yeah, but now I feel like the things that come to me during hiking is actually things that I'm like, oh wow, I do need to pay a lot more. I need to create this space to actually study this and make time for it, right? Versus
Mm-hmm.
continue to putting it off, continue to putting it on the brain dump, and I really never get. It doesn't really make it to your to-do list. So just so we are clear, the brain dump is like, I don't know if many of you wake up with like this head of like, I need to do this, the dishwasher, the dinners, the lunches, the like, and all the things that are running through your mind. What am I wearing? The interview, all the things. And so you just take them all out and you brain dump. You just dump them on a piece of paper. But then not all of them should make your to-do list. Not all of them should make it to where they are taking a lot of your energy anymore. You just dump them and release them and be like, bye, I'm moving on to better things, to my hike.
Yes, exactly. Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I know that hiking for you is like one of your favorite things. And I know that you're actively having a group that goes hiking. Why don't you tell us about that? The manifestation. I'm sure you can explain us better what it is, but tell us what that is.
Yes, thank you. So on Fridays, I have a group of badass women who get together at 5 a.m. and we go and do a different trail every Friday, and it's called Hike and Manifest. So if you're in Arizona, you're welcome to come. Um, and in that group, I basically go over 4 questions. And the first one is, what are you proud of in the last 24 hours? I believe that so many times we we're so easy to beat ourselves up about the things we didn't do. We're so easy to overlook what we haven't done. And so just this question and then everybody sharing it together, it's just like such a good collective energy of women just like cheering each other on and then acknowledging themselves for like doing all these amazing things, and not just like productivity wise, but like maybe you didn't yell at your kids when you were really frustrated. Like those moments, it's like taking those in. I feel like it just helps everybody just get in a higher state and believing in themselves that there's so much more than all the mistakes and all of the things they didn't get to do. So that's like one of the questions. The other question is, what are you grateful for in the last 24 hours? So the way I see it is that many times, like let's say we're going through the same road every day, like you go to the same road to work every day. And for whatever reason, sometimes you don't notice all the little shops that like pop up. And if you were to really pay attention, they're like, oh my God, there's this shop. So I don't know if it's going to make sense, but it's basically like that. Like our days pass, and a lot of the times we don't acknowledge every little thing that went well for us, or like, and I really like to focus on the moments. So like, if I had a really good conversation with my husband and my mom made me chilaquiles, they were bomb. So like those things, like
You definitely should always be grateful for your mom chilaquiles.
yes. So like those things of like, I think so many days we pass by our days without really seeing how much magic, beauty we have in those days. And I feel like when we share it again, it's like it just like changes like the woman's perspectives. They're like, oh my God, I never thought about it that way. And it's beautiful because it's such like it feels like such a simple concept, like it's just four questions, but it's like as we're sharing it with each other, we get to see ourselves in the other woman, and then like when somebody like thinks of something that we didn't think about, we're like, oh my God, that's right, you know? So yeah.
That's amazing. Yes. So that's I think it's awesome. Hiking as a group is also so great. It allows the best conversations and it gives you the space to acknowledge a lot of it. So yes, I do think that the energy of living in gratitude is one that you can choose to have every single day. And what a beautiful to invite it and to choose it and to welcome it in your morning manifestation hike.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing. Well, I want to be completely respectful of your time, and I also want to thank you for sharing this space, for sharing your magic. I know that we are extremely both passionate about a lot of similar things, but hiking in particular is something that I think that we share in common. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one thinking that it's like this amazing thing and everybody should try it.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel crazy when I'm like, well, have you gone for a hike? Oh, you're stressing me.
Yes.
Have you gone for like, have you
Yes,
been
it's
with
a
yourself?
solution.
Yeah, I feel like yes, it is the most amazing stair stepper. Yes, it is body movement, but it's also like connection to the outdoors. It's connection to Mother Earth. It's connection with yourself. It's connection to a different perspective, a bigger perspective most of the time, because you realize how little you are compared to like a lot of the mountains. And that's kind of why I decided to do like a whole story just on hiking, because of how what an impact it has made in my life. I go to hikes to celebrate something, and I go to hikes to release something that is feeling pretty heavy, and it has always been there for me as a sanctuary in which I get to reflect and not acknowledge. And I always do leave a lot more grateful to where like more whole, recharged, and connected with myself, which is awesome. Um, Anything else that we should share before we head out?
Yes, share your book and when it's coming out.
Oh, my Own Your Dance, the book,
Yes.
is a collection of personal stories, and hiking is most definitely one of the stories that you guys are gonna find there. And it is gonna be fully out and available to all of you September 27th. I cannot wait. So I hope that all of you mark your calendars and come join the birth. The outing, the course opening to this beautiful. You guys are gonna be able to buy it on Amazon. So Amazon is gonna have the electronic copy and the paperback by then. And I cannot wait to share this with the world. It's a pretty personal collection of stories, but in which I really hope that all of you guys get inspired to really start hiking, connecting with yourself, reflecting, and owning your dance, owning your hike, owning whatever it is that you are being called to own.
What
Yeah.
made you want to write this book?
What made me want to write this book? I had no, if you would have asked me 2 years ago that I was going to write a book, I would be like, no, and no. But I had kids, and actually, I wanted to hike the Grand Canyon rim to rim. And I wanted to do this with my husband as a challenge that we, every now and then, every once a year, we do something together that is making us train together or spend time together in a way. And the Grand Canyon had been on my bucket list for forever. So I had two, not one kid, but I had two. And so my husband lost his dad at a pretty young age, and he's very responsible. So he told me we can definitely go, but we need to have a wheel together just in case something happens to us. People die at the Grand Canyon. And I was like, oh my God, okay, well, the trip's paid for, so we're gonna go. But yes, we will do your wheel. And I completely underestimated the task. And sitting at the wheel office, in which you have to make a lot of decisions of what's going to happen to your kids if something was to happen, made me realize that I would be leaving a set of instructions of like, this is how you should live your life, and this is what I recommend you do, and this is how much money you're going to get to do it. And that's it. They don't get to know why. They don't get to understand my where that idea came from, my values, none of it. So that's the day that I left that office crying, pretty offended at my husband for what he had just put me through. And I told him, I was like, listen, it doesn't feel right to just, if something was to happen, to just leave that document. I feel like my kids should know who I am, why, and how I became the person that I am today, which made a lot of the decisions that they're going to read about. So it was kind of like a compliment and to those, to that document that I hope it never sees the light of this world. But I can now sleep at night knowing that when they are at age of reading, they can read my story for me, and they don't have to hear anybody, my mom or my mother-in-law, explain my story with their own words, because I feel like everybody has a perspective of things.
Yes.
And people think that I did things for one reason, but I did them for another. So I just figured that they should probably get to know me from my own word, with my own voice. And that's why you guys will have a book soon.
Yes, I love it. I think that's awesome. And I love that we'll get to know a little bit more about you through this book.
A lot
and
more.
And learn through your lessons.
Yes. And it's also an invitation so you guys can reflect on lessons that I had to go through by eating shit and like doing it my own way and maybe not listening to my parents, that maybe it would save you from some bruises in your own personal life. But it's really just an invitation. And yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited.
Yes, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Any last minute questions from Angie or for myself before we close this beautiful conversation out? Thank you, everybody that is laughing, because we did hike the Grand Canyon. I want to make sure that everybody knows.
Oh, you did? Oh my God.
Clearly nothing happened to us, because here we are today. Now we want to do it the other way around. And Hannah, actually, I think she's in the live. She's the one that gave us the training that we had to do, and it required the stair stepper. But when you want to get to a crazy goal, you also do crazy training. So it was so worth it. And Angie, I invite you to add it to your bucket list, because it is life-changing.
It is on my bucket list. I just haven't done it. So yes, I will have to hit you up and ask you for all the recommendations.
My brother just did it actually like 2 weekends ago, and he loved it. So I highly recommend that anybody that is into hiking checks it out. And Hannah is saying rim to rim to rim. I mean, she's been saying that for years. Maybe, I don't know. I can no longer say no to things, because here I am writing books and doing whatever I want. So maybe.
It's a growth mindset.
Yes. Just don't challenge me, because I will do it just to. But no. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Angie, for sharing your light, your experience, and your own definition and love for hiking. And yes, we invite you all to check out a hike. You are more than welcome to take on the challenge of rim to rim. I do not own the training, but I know the person that does, and she does. It's a team, and they do a fabulous job. So I will keep you updated if I decide to do rim to rim to rim. You guys can track it. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Have a wonderful day. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.